podcast, Wendie Lubinsky, who is our 8th P in the Pod cast, that is. Wendie is a personal trainer and owner and CEO of WML Wellness LLC right here at the club in 12 Oaks. She has been certified since 1996 as an American Red Cross instructor trainer in first aid, CPR, lifeguarding, swim instruction, and was a volunteer disaster service member while in college. Currently, Wendie is pursuing a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling from Capella University. Go Red and Black. Wendie was born in Wilmington, Delaware, but lived in Philadelphia until the age of 5. Her family moved to San Francisco, where she grew up attending elementary, middle, and high schools. Graduating from high school at the young age of 16, Wendie moved by herself to San Diego to attend college. While there, she worked as a lifeguard and personal trainer at the North Island Naval Air Base. 2 years later, Wendie moved again to Orange County, California, to attend the University of California, Irvine. Go Anteaters. While at UCI, she was the aquatic director for the city of Newport Beach and obtained instructor trainer with the American Red Cross, enabling her to teach instructor-level classes to the staff in the community. After graduation in 2002, Wendie relocated to New York City, living and experiencing the Big Apple for 3 years before moving with then husband to Westchester County to start a family. Westchester County is the second most populous county on the mainland of New York after the Bronx. In 2011, they were blessed with a set of beautiful twin girls, Samantha and Taylor. While in Westchester County, with Wendie's extensive experience and high level of certification, she opened her own business in 2008, of which she recently sold this year, called WML Aquatics. This was an American Red Cross business that taught health and safety classes. More to come on that. Wendie opened a second business in 2016 called Transform You, comprised of personal training, group fitness, nutrition, mental toughness, life coaching, and weight loss. It was then in July 2019, Wendie and the twins were looking for a different quality of life, a quality of life that offered the girls to play with all the neighborhood kids and no longer being plugged into technology from the second they got home from school until the time they went to bed. A quality of life that is well-rounded, wholesome, great activities, outstanding schools, wonderful neighbors. Yep, you guessed it. North Carolina, Holly Springs, 12 Oaks, the trifecta that so many of us yearn for as well. And to boot, Wendie was able to move her New York business to North Carolina shortly after moving to 12 Oaks, renaming it WML Wellness, a holistic company that incorporates mental health, nutrition, and physical fitness for a complete way to achieve wellness. Now it's time to introduce our own incredible entrepreneur and personal trainer, Wendie Lubinsky. Hey, Wendie.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good, thanks. How you doing?
I'm doing well and just so happy to be here. So welcome to Talk of 12 Oaks, the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for being here today and kicking off the month of May. It is really an honor to share your story. You're definitely an inspiration and you're so motivated to achieve more.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, before we get started, and knowing that you will fill in the details, was I pretty accurate with your brief bio?
Yeah, that's pretty much my life in a nutshell.
Okay, cool. Well, here goes. Okay, let's get into personal growth and early values.
Okay.
When you were a kid, moving seemed to be a common occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
Was this a military thing?
No. Actually, we started in Philadelphia, and my dad just always had this yearning to live in San Francisco. It was like his dream to live in San Francisco. both of my parents were East Coasterners, and inspiration hit him, and we picked up and moved to San Francisco. And that's where I lived from the time I was 5 until 16 when I graduated high school and moved down to San Diego.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, and with your dad, I've been intrigued for many years about the Bay Area. So what was it like growing up in San Francisco?
Well, contrary to thought that California is very warm and sunny, San Francisco is actually very foggy and quite chilly. Now, being a New Yorker, chilly has a different meaning up there than in San Francisco. But it's, San Francisco is such a fantastic city because you have such a melting pot community, but everybody is very accepting and very open, and the culture is, it just feels good because people empower each other and like the diversity in the city. So it just feels different. Judgment has a different word, a different meaning out there.
Sure. Do you get a chance to get back out to the Bay Area?
Not much. Not since I moved to New York. No, I haven't been back. I haven't really had a reason to. My parents aren't there. My sister's not there. So, a lot of my friends have spread out throughout the country. So not really a reason.
Yeah, beautiful country out there. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned earlier, you graduated from high school at the age of 16.
Yeah.
That's a bit early, isn't it? I mean, how did that happen? I mean, were you some type of a whiz kid or a child prodigy? I mean,
yes, that's exactly right.
I figured you would say that.
It happened the way it happened because I had a difficult childhood, like a lot of people do. And I am not the type of person that sits back and lets life kind of go on its own. I take the bulls by the horn and I direct my future and I direct where I want to go and who I want to be. And that's kind of what I did. So I was in private school and hated it. And I withdrew myself when I was a junior, and I took the bus down to my local high school and I enrolled myself, and I said, listen, we need to get this done because I don't want to live here anymore and I'm done. I need to be on my own. So my guidance counselor said, well, you need 5 independent studies. And if you can get the teachers to give those to you, then you can graduate this year, which would have meant I graduated as a junior. So I said, all right, I can do that. So I went to all the teachers and they said, sure, yeah, we'll do that for you. And I did. I graduated as a junior and then bought a one-way ticket and moved myself to San Diego to start my life and do me.
Wow. Look at you. Congratulations.
Thanks.
So tell me about some early values you learned and how have those values impacted you today?
So that's a really good question. And because I'm currently getting my clinical mental health counseling master's degree to become a licensed counselor in the state of North Carolina, I have really had to do soul searching and lots of self-development to figure out who I want to be throughout my life, where I want to go, and then kind of grasping those concepts and being able to then reach out to other people and help them achieve those same goals. So I had to learn self-care. And self-care is something that a lot of people don't remember to do. You're busy taking care of your children, or you're taking care of your husband, or you're taking care of the dog or the house, or you're doing your job in the car, and everything has to get done. And then you forget about yourself. And at the end of the day, you're exhausted because you haven't taken a moment for yourself. And being a product of trauma and abuse, like so many of us are, you have to remember to put yourself first. Remember that on the airplane, when the oxygen mask drops down, you put yours on first and then you help the person next to you. Because if you don't take care of you, you now have 2 victims. Same with as a lifeguard. you have to go out with your rescue tube and protect you first. If you don't protect you first and you go out without a rescue tube, you now have 2 drowning victims.
Wow.
And that's what we want to avoid in life. So early values were very motivated, very driven by me to be better than my upbringing. And so self-care, which is why I graduated early and why I went to San Diego on my own and why I got a degree and why I started businesses and became a mom. Yeah, all of that.
Self-care, that's powerful. I
Yes.
absolutely love it. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so let's explore. You started talking about your profession, so let's get into your P in the pod, which is a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Why did you pursue the personal fitness, personal training field?
So I was a personal trainer and lifeguard in college. So it was just something I've always done. I've always been into fitness. I was always on volleyball or basketball or the soccer ball team. And I've always loved sports. I've been a horseback rider my entire life. So always been physically active, and personal training was just something very easy that fell into my lap in college, and I loved doing it. And I continued being very heavily involved in fitness. And after WML Aquatics was up and running and well established, and I had staff and managers, and the business was self-sufficient, I really started exploring other areas that interested me. And because I was still actively involved in fitness, I decided to go back and get my personal training and group fitness degree to go back to doing that. That was fun.
Sure.
It's like a little side gig to keep myself busy. I was working out anyway. And then it was easy to kind of acquire some of these other certificates because it was all on the same platform, the physical fitness platform that I'm certified through. And so I acquired then the mental toughness and the weight loss and the nutrition cert. So it all kind of came together. And at the same time, I've gone back and forth between being a vegan and a vegetarian, and I've raised my children with good eating habits and the importance of physical fitness. And it just kind of all works together. So when you think of wellness as a picture, nothing is independent of itself. Your mental health isn't independent of your physical health, because then you have somatic illnesses, psychosomatic illnesses. So when you're super stressed, all of a sudden your body hurts, or you're more tired than you were. So there's a connection right there between the mind and body. And if you're not feeding yourself nutritious foods, and you're not working out and getting your blood circulated and increasing lymphatic drainage, then you're not healthy from the inside out, and you're not healthy from the outside in. So it all works together. And we know from studies that food is directly linked to brain health. There are certain foods that increase the serotonin in our brain, and there are certain ways of eating that create happiness and enjoyment. And then vice versa, if you're feeding yourself foods that are a drain on your physical body, you're also not helping your cognition as well.
Got it. So you are what you eat and do.
It's sort of. You are what you absorb. So you can eat anything you want, but if your body doesn't know how to absorb those nutrients, and you're not getting them, then you're not necessarily what you eat. You're what you absorb.
So that's what you're doing then, is helping people understand how to absorb what they eat.
Well, that's a piece of the bigger puzzle. So the whole puzzle is we want to increase our physical fitness. And that's different for everybody. It has to do with your entire biopsychosocial background. So if your medical history doesn't allow you to do, like a HIIT class, I'm not going to tell you to do that. I'm going to look at your metabolism. I'm going to see if you have metabolic syndrome. I'm going to look at your medical history, and then I'm going to create a custom plan for you. So what physical fitness is going to work for you? What nutritional habits are going to work for you? So we know keto diet is really important for people who have, it can help with ADHD. It can help with people who have neurological disorders. So maybe I'm going to recommend that diet to you. But keto isn't something I'm going to recommend to everybody. If you've metabolic disease, I'm certainly not going to put you on a keto diet. So everything is customized for the individual. So I need to know that full biopsychosocial in order to know where you've come from, who you are today, and where you're headed in order to create that. And then we work on the mental health component too, because there are reasons why people have addictions. There are reasons why people are eating or have poor eating habits. There's a reason why you're binge eating, or there's a reason why you're not eating at all, or why you're not exercising. So we're going to go through what those mental blocks are and uncover what those are, so we can achieve wellness, again, from that holistic point of view.
Got it. So you have quite a bit of interaction with doctors?
Yes. So I do refer out because I don't do blood work, but
Okay.
I will give my clients a list of blood work that they need to get done, and then I'll review the blood work with them afterwards. So nutritional standards of blood work are different than medical. So the doctor might tell you, oh yeah, your cholesterol is totally fine, even though you're like 4 points below the threshold. Well, from a nutritional standpoint, we don't want you there. That's not a good place to be. So we're going to talk about what foods and what exercises you can do to bring down that cholesterol. And sometimes there is a prescription piece that needs to play a part. You know, there's only so much diet, nutrition, and mental health can do to change physiology.
Got it. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so regarding your first business you sold this year, WML Aquatics. What's the M for, by the way? I would assume that Wendie and the
WML, they're my initials. Yeah, Wendie Miller Lubinsky.
Miller, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So other than what I briefly mentioned in your bio, how impactful was it?
Creating that business?
Yes.
Well, you know, what was so amazing about having that business was, number one, it's something I very much believe in. I believe in public safety. I believe in helping the community. You know, we were training people to be prepared, CPR, first aid, creating lifeguards, and then hiring out the lifeguards for communities and condos and country clubs. And making swimming instructors, and then they would go out and teach swimming lessons to the community. And there's nothing more important than water safety for our children. I mean, we have a pool right here in 12 Oaks, and no parent wants to imagine what can happen in a pool if they aren't watching or the lifeguard's not watching. So water safety is paramount in ensuring our children are safe in, on, and around the water, which is a slogan from the Red Cross. So I believe in the Red Cross mission, and I believe in community safety and preparedness. So that was a good marriage for me of creating this company and keeping in line with my morals and my values there. What the business also allowed me to do, because I created it as a tiered business. So I was the owner and operating director, but I had managers under me, and then managers under them, and staff under them. So that allowed me to be a stay-at-home mom, which is ultimately what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom and raise my children. Yeah. So I was very lucky that I was able to create this wonderful, successful business that was morally and ethically rewarding, and at the same time allowed me to be home with my babies and care for them 24 hours a day.
And it was so well, then you obviously, as you wanted to now come and find a better quality of life, or a different quality of life here in North Carolina, you relocated the business here from New York. Were there any state of North Carolina certifications or requirements?
No. So the American Red Cross, about, I want to say 8 to 10 years ago, changed over to a national system. So it used to be state by state that certifications were had to get approved if you wanted to go over state lines. Now it's a national certification. So if you're a lifeguard, you can be a lifeguard anywhere in the country.
long as you're certified as with
Yeah.
the American Red Cross. Okay, beautiful.
Right. Yeah.
So tell us about what's happening with achieving your master's of clinical health counseling. How's it going? When will it be completed? And
yeah, it's an amazing program. I'm learning so much. I'm learning so much about society and gender differences and ethnicities and culture. And it's really amazing learning about how much ethnicity and culture and social structures play into the psychology of people.
really,
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily think about it, but that's the whole biopsychosocial. And then you have socioeconomics that also play a role in it. So, the way, for example, I'm taking a sexuality class this semester.
okay.
And when you think of the word sexuality, it's, okay, gender and how we view sex and what we assume as, socially and culturally relevant. And okay, so it's not really much more than that, but it is, because every culture views sex entirely different. So in our culture, if you think about what is taboo in our culture having to do with sexuality, or our acceptance of gender differences or gender preference, or the way we refer to gender in our country, which is, a big debate right now. Yeah. And then you take those ideas and you look at Africa, or you look at the Middle East, or Israel, or Europe. What are their value systems? And all of a sudden it puts sexuality in a totally different perspective. Or let's say abnormal versus normal. Okay, well, in American culture, what we look at as normal, and then you compare that to another country's normal, it's very interesting to think. So then what is normal? So normal is contextual. There is no universal definition of normal. Normal exists in the society, in the ethnic, the cultural, the diversity, values, of the religion, spirituality, that all plays a part in what's normal versus not normal. And who is to judge what normal is or normal isn't? So the only way a counselor would judge normal versus not normal is in the context of their life, their society, their religion, their culture, their values, and then looking at what the negative effect is of that on their life. So if you are experiencing trauma from it, if you are having anxiety over it, if it is plaguing you in some way, then it's not normal and you want to work on it. But if you're living a life that is socially looked at as not normal, but you're happy as can be, and it's not hurting anybody, and it's not hurting you, and you're sane, and you're getting your life done, then who's to judge?
Right. Got it. Wow. Yeah. Interesting. So the degree, when are you going to be completed?
So I have one more semester, and then I start my internship. And that is about a couple months. So by winter of 2020 and then overlapping 2021, I will be graduating, and then I sit for the boards and I get my licensure. And then I start my 3,000 hours towards getting full and complete licensure. So a counselor in North Carolina has to have 3,000 hours of supervision work in order to become licensed in the state. So I sit for the boards in probably January. I'll get my temporary licensure, which means I can practice as a counselor as long as I have a supervisor, which I already do. She's amazing. And then that accrues my 3,000 hours, and then I'm fully licensed. And then I'm going to go on and get my PhD and become an instructor, a professor myself.
Oh, so there is more then. The journey continues.
Yes.
Awesome. Along with more money, huh? More money's coming in?
Well, let's hope so. Fingers crossed. Hopefully the education yields something.
Yeah, we all do. So that's pretty cool. Earlier this year, you received some high honors. Speaking of education and you and your self-care and making it happen, you received high honors from Capella University. So congratulations.
Yeah,
Can you tell
thank
us what
you.
that was all about?
Yeah, it's Chi Sigma Iota, and that means that I have a 3.5 GPA or above. Not to brag, but I have a 4.0. Not so much.
Okay, hello. Wow.
And all I can say is, so again, my personality is if I decide to do something, I'm doing it. And there's no half-assing it here. Like I either
Right.
do it or I don't do it. So
Right.
I put my all into everything I do. And when I put my all into everything, the only reason why it's not draining and why it doesn't cause me to be unhealthy is because I also have self-care. So I create very healthy boundaries for myself and for my children. And, things have an ebb and a flow to them, but I make sure that everyone is taken care of, but that includes myself.
Good stuff. Good deal.
Thank you.
How's the 12 Oaks business? How's that going? WML Wellness. How's that going?
Well, up until the quarantine, I was running classes at the club, but I was also running it outside my front door at the green space. So I have a fabulous location, only a couple blocks from the clubhouse, where my house is right in front of the green space. So I was running classes at the green space, morning fitness classes.
Sure.
But now since the quarantine, I've been doing online videos from my home gym, which I'm sitting in right now.
All right.
And it's from 10 to 11 a.m. And I live stream them on a Zoom conference, and which I have on my Facebook page and also on my YouTube account. And then I video those and put them on my YouTube account so people can view them later if they want.
Got it.
So that's been great.
Yeah, I saw that coming across that virtual piece and thought that was innovative, and just wanted to see how that was going for you.
Thanks. Yeah. It would be great if I could get more people interested in the class, because it's a really good workout. So hopefully the word will spread and people will join the class. And then when the quarantine's over, I was working with the clubhouse to do classes for them. So, Ed has assured me that when things are back up and running, we'll have a conversation and get my classes rolling again at the clubhouse.
Are you listening, Ed? Just want to make sure Ed's listening.
Hello, Ed. Can you hear me? Hello.
Ed talks. Okay, got it. And so you got your vision of what you're trying to do here for the future, and
Yeah.
That's all good. So congratulations on starting this. Hopefully the 12 Oaks family will heed the call and join in on the fun. So appreciate that.
Yeah, it'd be great. Let's get everybody working out.
There you go. Okay, so Wendie, is that time to get a little more personal? So I know you couldn't wait for this, right?
Can't wait.
Can't wait. Can you spend a little time telling us about Samantha and Taylor?
Oh, my babies.
Your
yes,
babies.
Of course. Well, they're polar opposites. Taylor is my superhero. I call her Sporty Spice.
You call her what now?
Sporty Spice.
Oh, Sporty Spice. Okay.
Yeah. She dresses like a boy. She likes to wear boys' clothes. She always has. I want to say it was at like maybe 2 years old that she stopped wearing dresses and skirts and dressing like a girl and started wearing superhero t-shirts. She just made this independent unilateral decision that she was done dressing like a girl and wanted to dress like a boy. And I was like, yeah, right on. So yeah, I mean, she's super sporty, super smart. And then Sam Samantha, she is my girly girl, the over-the-top ball gowns.
Oh, really?
Used to go to school in ball gowns.
Really?
Yes, she wears a purse every day. Her hair is long and flowing, and she loves makeup and shopping. And Taylor has no time for shopping. She's like, "Where's the baseball? Where's the basketball?" So it's fun. It feels like I have, two totally separate kids, and this is something interesting when you think of siblings, and because they're twins.
Yeah.
Twins have this innate desire to establish their difference. So I have a little bit of a pet peeve when people call twins because their self-identity is confused with being a twin. Wait, I'm not what twin? No, I'm Samantha and I'm Taylor. We're not twins. We're two separate people. So twin becomes this self-identity of encapsulating both of them into one when they're not. They have to have their own self-identity and their own self-esteem that's independent of each other. So twins do typically separate themselves very definitively with very, very strong lines of one's over here, one's over here, in order to establish that identity that's separate from their twin.
Sure. Yeah, we've got a set of twins, grandkids, and they are pretty much just the way you describe it. Trying to set their own identity, trying to set their own way. Beautiful, gorgeous young ladies. I mean, absolutely love them to death. So I get it, and I understand that separation of power, if you will. Or
yeah, right.
Okay. So what's the day in the life for you, Wendie, as a mom, a college student, with the girls, and then also your fitness or wellness? I mean, that's quite a bit.
So before or now during quarantine?
Well, a little. Quarantine is probably putting the light on a lot more being the mom or being there closer. So forth. I get that, but yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, maybe more in the, as you mentioned before, more in the normal times. What was that in the life even?
So, we wake up and kids get ready for school.
They're 9, right? 9 years old?
Yeah,
Sorry?
they're 9,
Okay.
third grade. Yep.
Yep.
Which hopefully they'll be going on to 4th. We'll see.
Sure. Yeah.
So, we get up, and I've taught my children to be very independent. That was very important for me to support my children's independence and empower them to be individuals and have self-confidence and believe in themselves. So they get up, they get themselves ready. We meet downstairs. If they need help with breakfast, I help them with breakfast. Otherwise, they make their own breakfast. They pack their own lunches. They put their homework in their backpack, get their backpacks together. And I give them, the 20-minute warning and then the 10-minute warning, and we're out the door. And on beautiful mornings, we'll walk to school. On cold or raining mornings, we drive to school. And then I'll come home. I teach my morning fitness class. Again, that's 10 to 11 in the morning.
Okay.
And then prepare myself something to eat after, which you want to consume protein about 20 minutes after a workout. So something healthy I put together. Okay. And then I start my homework.
I like how you just slid that right in. That
you like that? The nutrition fact is just going to slip in it. And then, do my homework. And then when it's time for the kids to come home, again, if it's beautiful, I'll walk to school and pick them up, and we'll walk home, or they'll I'll pick them up in the car if it's raining or cold, like I said earlier. There are times during the day I've scheduled clients, and that might be a personal training client, which I have a permit from the town to run personal training out of my home gym, so I can take on personal training clients. So I might have a client or a few clients scheduled during the day, or I might have a counseling client that I'm speaking to. Sometimes we do it virtually, or they'll come here and we'll have a session here. And then, the kids get home from school and we do homework. It's always homework first. You're not allowed to play. Work first, play later. So they do their homework, they have an after school snack, and then they're off and playing, because that's the greatest thing about 12 Oaks here is the kids can walk out the front door and feel confident that we're in a safe, beautiful community, that they don't have to worry about what inner city school or inner city kids sometimes have to worry about.
Yeah, and the other beauty about that is that there's always somebody out watching, meaning other parents, and everybody's looking out for each other, and so that's a beautiful thing.
Right, and you're friends with your neighbors, so everyone knows your kids, and they don't have an issue screaming at your kid if your kid's acting inappropriately.
There you go. It takes a village.
That's right.
So with that, and I know we just slid into 12 Oaks, and I know I mentioned about a different quality of life in the intro. Did I miss anything about your reasoning or wanting to be here in 12 Oaks?
No, not really. I came down from New York and spent, I think, about 5 days back in June, seeing different communities in the Wake County area, and loved my real estate agent that I was working with, and she drove me all over the place and made lots of appointments for me. And I saw 12 Oaks online from up in New York, and I had kind of already had my heart set on this community. Okay. And then when I saw it, it just solidified for me. We don't really have to look anywhere else. This is where I want to be.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, and we saw every house, all the new construction and all the pre-existing construction. And I actually had a contract on one of the Lennar houses over on the other side, but it wasn't going to be ready until after the kids started school, and that made me nervous. And again, self-care. If I'm feeling nervous, it's not going to go well. So I need to make sure that I'm comfortable, so then I can help my children be comfortable. So I said, let's see everything that's already pre-existing. And so we did. We saw everything in one day. Wow. And I found my house right here on Mirrorleaf, and I was like, that's it. That's it. That's the house. That's the one I want. That's mine. Good so deal. Done. Good Signed, sealed, delivered.
So it's all seems to be working out in your 10 months that you've been here now, right? Everything's working out for you?
Very happy. The weather's so much better than New York. Love the quality of life. We were ready for a change. I miss my friends back in New York, and so do my girls, but the quality of life down here is just so much better for us, that we feel like we made the right decision.
Good deal. Yep. You can't go wrong with this trifecta. So good deal. Tell me something that's true that almost nobody agrees with you on.
Oh, wow. Let's see. That could be a lot of different things. So almost nobody, or that there's pushback from people in general? Because
almost nobody.
I would like to stick with therapy, because there's a trend throughout the world, but in our country, we'll stick with our country values right now. That there has been a trend over the centuries that mental health is not important. If you go back to Freud in the late 19th century, early 20th century, when he was establishing mental health and trying to create it as a new science, and the medical community laughed in his face and said, "What are you talking about? Mental health isn't a thing. You have a physical body, and that's the only thing that can get ill." And Freud said, "No, your brain can get ill too." And nobody listened to him. And he tried to prove over and over that what he was talking about was true. And luckily he was able to come up with a lot of scientific evidence that did prove that mental health is imperative to our overall health, and is so closely linked to our mind, body, spirit, concept of wellness. So what I would say that gets a lot of pushback in the community is the idea of therapy. You say to somebody, I'm sorry you're going through this. Do you talk to a therapist? And the answer at times is no. What do you mean? I'm not crazy. Well, you don't have to be crazy to seek therapy. Like I said, we've all experienced trauma. We've all experienced crisis in our lives. And those unresolved feelings get trapped inside of us, and they can produce lasting anxiety and trauma that stays with us, that then changes structurally in our brain through neuroplasticity, changes how we perceive things and how we take in information. And now we're a different person because of this trauma, and sometimes for the good and sometimes not so much for the good, and it creates illness.
Yeah.
So anyone that has a strange look or a strange feeling when they hear, do you go to therapy, or have you thought about therapy, or who do you talk to in order to alleviate these feelings or work through these feelings? Anyone that gives a strange eye to that needs to take a really deep self-reflective look of knowing that you don't have the tools to do this. So we're not firefighters. I'm not going to run into a burning building and try and put it out. Sure, I can get a hose and stand outside. Hopefully that'll help, but that's not going to prevent the building from burning up. Same with mental health. You need to seek a professional who can help you. They have the tools, the education in order to help you get through your trauma. Everyone has trauma. We are not immune to trauma. Trauma happens. Crisis happens. Right now, this is a crisis. And some people are taking in the different stimulus, and it could be creating anxiety.
Right.
Where there never was before.
Right.
You might be doubting your own sanity when you never thought you had an issue before. Sure. So things in our lives create doubts, and anxiety comes from those doubts, and it can really sink in and really hurt us over a long period of time, and then they become triggers. So, we get over this, and then 6 months from now, the coronavirus comes in, and you didn't deal with your trauma from being quarantined the first time around. So now when the virus comes back, if it comes back, and we're quarantined again, now it's a trigger.
Oh, yeah.
And your fear is even worse, or your anxiety is even worse. And now what do you do? So that's why you have to work through your trauma. You've got to get it out from the unconscious. You need to bring it to the surface. You need to work through it, talk about it cognitively, understand where it comes from and how to cope with it. So now you have the tools moving forward to handle it the next time it comes up.
Therapy is a good thing.
Therapy is amazing. There's nothing that replaces therapy. And talking to your best friend and talking to your husband or your dog is not the same thing as talking to a professional counselor who has the training and the tools to help you get through it.
Excellent. Excellent.
Thanks.
Wendie, in life, what are you most proud of?
I am most proud of maintaining sanity when there were moments in my life that could have changed the trajectory of my future. So the trauma I had as a child could have yielded an entirely different result if I didn't go to my guidance counselors and ask them how to get out and how to take control of my own life, my own destiny. There's other roads I could have taken, which we all know other people that have taken other roads. That's where addiction comes from. That's where suicide comes from. That's where mental illness can come from, those unresolved issues that we don't work through. So I'm proud of the choices that I've made that have allowed me to take steps forward and maintain my mental health. And yes, I've slipped, I've faltered, absolutely. I mean, like I said, Trauma and crisis are everywhere. But I was in counseling from my teenage years. So as soon as I moved to San Diego, I sought counseling through school. And then I sought counseling through insurance. And I have been in counseling throughout college. And then after I graduated college, I went into heavy duty psychotherapy to try and figure out my trauma from childhood so it didn't interfere in my life. Because stress and anxiety can really take a toll.
Sure.
And we all know what stress and anxiety feels like, and it can really snowball. So I'm proud that I was able to get the courage to take myself to therapy and do the hard work that I needed to do to heal and create wellness in my life. And that's what I want to bring to other people. I want to show them that you can turn it around. You can make good choices for yourself and for your family, and you can be different. It's not a question of better or worse. It's a question of different. If what you're doing right now isn't working, you have to make a choice to do something different, because if you do nothing, nothing changes.
Self-care.
Yep.
I hear you. And I see that mantra all throughout this conversation, and who you are and what you're about. If you had a do-over in life, what would it be and why?
That's a very powerful question. Again, as a mental health provider, I don't believe in do-overs. I believe that all of our experiences make us who we are, and we need to embrace all of those, all of our bad choices, all of our good choices, all of our rational, irrational. Every experience, every decision, every event that we've had in our lives are what shape who we are. And there is good from every experience you've had, but you have to choose to look at what the good is. What is that life lesson? So even in your darkest of days, what is the life lesson there? What can you get out of this? How can you be a better person from this horrible experience? It's not the experience that we're trying to reshape and say, oh no, that was a good experience. No, it can be a really crappy experience. It is that. So embrace that it was a crappy experience, but guess what? You lived through it. Guess what? You're on the other side. And now you can identify what that scenario is, what that situation is, and you know to now avoid it. And guess what? You get to share that message with other people if you choose to, and help them avoid it. Or you can then say, you know what? This could happen again, and this is what I'm going to do next time to actually be in it. Instead of avoiding it, I'm going to go head first into it, and I'm going to make it have a different outcome. So that is why I don't believe in regret. Sure, we all make poor decisions at times, but you can't regret your decisions if you can learn a lesson from it and be a better person from it.
So good. So good. Okay, so what question I should have asked, but I didn't? Did you hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you. Sorry. I was
sorry.
like, what question? What?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Let me do that again. Okay, so we're gonna rewind it and do it. Okay.
Okay.
What question I should have asked, but I didn't?
Oh, you're asking me what questions you should ask. Oh,
yeah.
I don't know. I think you've done kind of an excellent job. I feel like my whole life has been kind of on display for everybody. So, hi. Nice to meet everybody.
Okay, cool. Got it. All right. Well, Wendie, I'm sure the audience, like me, are hating to end this. I can hear picketing going on outside.
Let's not do that. You want to talk about it?
I know, right? Yeah, let's discuss this, right? Get some therapy. Don't pick it, okay? As I shared earlier, you are an inspiration. I've learned so much about you, your profession, and really life in general. I mean, you've got some powerful some powerful beliefs and some powerful learnings and a lot of great takeaways for all of us. And thank you for taking the time. Oh, you're welcome. And thank you for taking the time out of your extremely busy school, work, and life to chat with us. 12 Oakers, we are really fortunate to have Wendie as a neighbor. Please check out her WML Wellness right here in 12 Oaks. Wendie, what are the days and times again?
So it's every morning, 10 to 11, Monday through Friday. There is a link on my Facebook page, Wendie Lubinsky, or you can go to WML Wellness LLC. And on that Facebook page, you will see the link to our Zoom meeting, 10 to 11 a.m. for fitness class. You can always schedule a personal training session with me. We can do it virtually until the quarantine's over, and then I'm happy to host here at my home gym. I do nutrition consults, I do total wellness consults, and I also do counseling sessions for anybody that has stuff that you need to work through, which we all do. We all need to work through it. So yeah, I'm available by phone. I'm available by text, email, any way you want to get a hold of me.
Great. So I want to thank all of you, my neighbors and friends, for spending time again with us on Talk of 12 Oaks, the podcast. We look forward to you checking back in on Tuesday, May 19th for a brand new episode. It'll be another great one, guaranteed. And please tell your friends and neighbors who have yet to tune in, y'all need to tune in.
Yeah, you do.
Just visit us on talkof12oaks.com, the 12 Oaks Facebook community page, or anywhere you view podcasts. All comments on neighbors and topics you like to hear about are welcome. And if you want to be on, call me. I'll answer. I'm committed to continue to build even a better Talk of 12 Oaks, the podcast, because of you. As always, I reserve the right to get smarter. Be safe, stay tuned. Peace out. Now, I hope all of